The new Dale Paulke Arena was filled with screaming fans excited to wrap up the final night of the 144th rodeo held in Mandan, North Dakota. We start things off on the bareback riding. Here's world champion rider Tim O'Connell. He had an outstanding show on this ride. He's riding a buck named Texas Tough. He holds on all the way for a score of 86 flat. It was the night's highest score. Next is Mandan's very own Ty Brewer, who is of course a fan favorite. He hangs on long enough for a score of 80.5. The home crowd thought he deserved more. Cole Rayner out of Buffalo, Wyoming would have a successful go on his horse named Time to Rock. Rayner would clock in the night's second best score of 85 flat. The next event was steer wrestling. Hazleton, North Dakota's Jace Jones. His go summed up tonight's steer wrestling. Very few wrestlers were successful at clocking a time. Bismarck native Justice Johnson was only one of a few steer wrestlers with a successful run. He gets this fella down to the ground in a time of 8.7 seconds, still a ways away from the overall leaders in this event earlier this weekend. Now, traditions come along with every holiday. While many spend their time on the river here, others in the area spend their Independence Day at the ballpark, this time watching two teams from across the river square off. The Chiefs and the Govs went head-to-head in yet another one of their classic 4th of July matchups. The Governors, they won yesterday's matchup by a score of 8-5. It was Zachary Bracken who started on the mound for the Govs. He was dealing early on, striking out the first two batters of the game. Here he is sending down his opposition striker, Lucas Burgum, looking. In the bottom of the second, the Chiefs would build pressure by putting runners on the base. Tate Olson cracks this ball through the gap into right field, playing his part in filling the bases up, which would be loaded right here, but that doesn't matter for Bracken. He steps up again, this time sending down Seth Aarons. He gets himself out of the jam with a big-time strikeout to end the inning. The Chiefs, they win this one 7-5 over the Govs. In the next game, just before that, it was the A's versus the Reps. The A's were down 3-0 after the top half of the first. Ty Weiler hits a grounder to short. Tate Shawner is throw over to first is in time, but Cameron Beaver will score, so it's an RBI for Weiler. The top of the second, Isaac Lewis cranks this ball into the left center gap. This brings around Cooper Miller and Andrew Brubachen. It's a 5-1 lead for the Reps. Ty Weiler was on the mound for the A's. With the runner on third, the Reps were looking to add another, but Weiler blows this pitch past Gavin Price for the big strikeout to end the inning. The A's, they will lose out to the Reps 8-1. The Dakota Dust-Up rivalry has been very one-sided, with the Larks taking all 5 matchups against the Tots. The Larks win this one on the road in a barn burner, 10-9 over